Hello there, and welcome to today's live streaming for personal finance. So today I'm watching you guys from YouTube before I even go to Zoom. And I'm going to give it a bit of time for everyone, or at least a few people, to join us. So if you're watching, good evening. I hope you had a fantastic day today, and I hope that you're going to enjoy today's live streaming. I request that you share this video to your networks so that we can have the numbers going up in terms of those that are watching us. So right now we've got 5 watching. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Please share the video before I get started. And also let me know in the chat box if you are able to hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Somebody say yes if you can hear me. Hi, Martin. Thank you for joining this evening. Can you hear me? Brilliant. Today we are making it fantastic. So Martin has confirmed he can hear me. So today I'm checking with YouTube first. Last week I was talking to myself. I couldn't, people were not hearing me, and I kept going on and on. So today I'm checking with YouTube first before I actually go to Zoom for my presentation. So thank you for joining. Share the video. I expect a lot of interaction today. So let's engage and interact. As I'm doing the presentation, I want to take note that I'll be in Zoom. I'll be in the Zoom room, if you like. And once I'm done with the presentation, I will come back to YouTube, and then we are going to have an engagement through the chat. Okay. So that's how I've laid out this evening's live streaming. So today I'm basically continuing with where we left last week in terms of savings and creating a budget. And today we're going to have a look at some of the tools that you can use in terms of how you actually create a budget for yourself that aligns with your goals. That's the key thing. Okay. Brilliant. Nicholas, thank you. You can hear me. Please share the video and like it. Also, very important, extremely, to get the word out there. Okay. Get out the word out there. I mean, I don't get paid to do this, but it's fun to do. I love it. It's even more fun if you get people appreciating what you do. So please give it a like. There's already just 1 like here. I will give it 2 more minutes before I start my presentation. So I'm leaving YouTube now and I'm heading to my Zoom room. Just continue liking and sharing. Let's go. All right, so I'm about to start. Last week we looked at all this. We started We looked at the goals. I hope you thought about this. Did you spend time to think about the goals for yourself, for your family? What do you want the future to be like? Because if you are not clear about your goals, it will definitely be very hard for you to do what we're about to actually consider. So goals setting first, and then savings. Very important. You need to keep money aside for investment. So that also we looked at. And we looked at this template, how using a savings plan. And today, I am actually going to use the case study of John to fill up this savings plan. So I'm going to show you exactly how you use this savings plan. And I hope that it's something that you can take away and also utilize. And by the way, if you're interested in any of these templates, you can request for them by emailing me and I can send them to you. So we are going to utilize this template today. We're also going to create a budget for John. And I'm going to spend some time to explain budgeting. What are the essentials when it comes to creating a personal budget? And I'm also going to touch on a few things that I've read on budgeting coming from Robert Kiyosaki, because Robert Kiyosaki is an American author who's written Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is very commonly or famously known for writing Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Is got a way of thinking about budgeting that I want us to look at after we've looked at the method that I use or recommend for budgeting. We're also going to consider his method, which is quite interesting and I think very important because it talks about paying yourself first. So we'll take a look at that when we start doing the budgeting. All right, so we are continuing today from where we left last week. I was just giving a quick recap. So I would like you to take a few notes. Very shortly, I'll be reading John's story. And when we read John's story, I want us to look at these activities. What are John's goals? And then we're going to group these goals into emergency, short-term, and long-term. And we're going to use the savings plan, which is a tool that I've created that you can use even for yourself to categorize your goals. Then the third thing we're going to look at is we're going to find out how much money John makes and how he spends his money. So the budget tool is going to help us with that. It's going to help us understand how much money does John make? How does he spend his money? Does he have enough money left for savings? Okay, which is the fourth thing we're going to look at. And finally, we're going to understand how much John should be saving for each goal every month. You see, this case study was created by myself, but it was created to show people that you can you actually make enough money and you can save towards investment for your future goals, your future emergency goals, short-term goals, and long-term goals. Last week, we looked at a breakdown or examples of these goals. So today, I want to show you that it's very possible, regardless of what amount of income you make, to actually save. So that's what we are going to look at. So let's read John's story. So John Banda, he's a welder and owns his own business. On average, he earns about 22,500 kwacha from his business. So the 22,500 kwacha is earned from his business. He pays himself a salary of 4,250 kwacha from his business income. John is married and has 7 children, all of whom are currently in school. Schools have opened, so John has got 7 kids and they're all going to school. One important point here is that John actually pays himself a salary. Many entrepreneurs, I don't know if there are any watching, it's rare that we pay ourselves salaries. We use the business account to draw and use the money for whatever we want. And that's a very bad financial habit. And that's why I brought this in also, just to highlight why it's important for you to set aside money from your business. His wife, Sandra, grows and sells vegetables, earning a monthly profit of 1,500 kwacha. In June 2021, remember this is this is a training I did way back in 2020. So the dates are quite outdated. In June 2021, John's firstborn child will be going to university. To support his son's education, John needs to save 20,000 kwacha. This is important for him because his son will be the first in the family to attend university. In August 2021, John plans to open another shop and needs 5,000 kwacha to buy spares for his business. He is working hard to save up for his investment, as he believes it will help him grow his business and earn more income. John also has a long-term goal of building a house for his family on his plot in 2026. The estimated cost of the house is 150,000 kwacha, and John is determined to save up for it over the next few years. To support his family, John spends 1,550 kwacha each month on essentials such as rent, which is 750 kwacha, school fees, 150 kwacha, food, 500 kwacha, and healthcare, which is 150. Overall, John is a hardworking and dedicated provider for his family. Despite the challenges he faces, he is determined to achieve his financial goals and provide his children with the best possible future. For those of us with children, that is what we want, eh? The best possible future for our children. So this is the short story that we have for John. And then we're going to look at, we'll start with the goals. John is so clear. I don't know how many people we have who are this clear, eh? And this is how we all need to be, by the way. We need to be as clear as John is. John has set aside certain goals that he wants to achieve. And if you look at, we're trying to handle the first task, which is categorize John. So let's go back to the tasks that we're supposed to do. So the first one is, what are John's goals? And then we're going to group them into emergency, short-term, and long-term goals. So this is how I grouped John's goals. Emergency, a lot of you might have heard of emergency funds, right? An emergency fund is supposed to be money kept aside, at least personal financial coaches normally say for at least 3 to 6 months, you need to keep aside money to cover your emergencies. And the way you determine how much you need to set aside for your emergencies is you need to look at your essential expenditures on rent, maybe hospitals, which I've highlighted here, maybe school fees, food, hospital, house rent, an estimation for funerals. So you just need to get an estimate of these amounts and then multiply the total amount of your estimated essential expenses, multiply that either by 3 months or by 6 months, whichever you want to save for. And that gives you your emergency fund. Okay, now I've categorized emergency fund under 12 months because I expect this, to be utilized whenever. Okay, and as you're going to see, I also relate this to how accessible the funds are. Because when it comes to an emergency, you don't want to tie up money in an account, maybe a fixed deposit account or a government bond lasting 2 years. It will be hard for you to get the money. So that's why I've put emergency under less than 12 months. And that is how you get your emergency fund in terms of the amount. So in terms of short-term goals, if we read the story again, John wants to send his child to university, right? And John is so clear about this. His son, let's see, when is his child finishing school? So his firstborn child will be going to university in June 2021. Okay, now the time I did this workshop was in 2020, and if you notice, June 2021, and the time I did this workshop, it was between 1 year and 5 years, which is why I had put university under short term. And then long term, John wants to build a house. So that is more than 5 years, because this house, he planned to build it in 2026. And at that time, it was more than 5 years. So that is how we categorize your goals. So even for yourself, myself, in terms of categorizing our goals, this is how we need to go about it. You've thought about your happy future, what you want to achieve, and then categorize those goals. Emergency or less than 12 months, goals that you would like to achieve in less than 12 months, goals that you'd like to achieve in the medium term or short term, which is 1 to 5 years, and goals that are long term, which is more than 5 years. So that is how we categorize John's goals. Now, having categorized his goals, we need to translate these goals into a financial plan. Can he actually achieve these goals with the money that he's making? So you might be so eager, you might be so excited about your goals, but then how do you determine whether you can actually afford to achieve those goals based on your current income? Okay, so that is what we're now going to do. We are going to create a financial, we're going to create a savings plan for John. Okay, this savings plan is to enable us to see how much is John required to save. How much is John required to save on a monthly basis for all his goals, for him to achieve all his goals. And this is the template. I've already completed it for you. If you look at the 4,950 kwacha for emergencies, these are the essential needs. And I've also included 100 kwacha for emergency, one of expenses that occur, okay, in the 4,950. Otherwise, the breast 150 plus food 500 plus healthcare 150 plus 4,950 for his emergency fund, and I multiplied this by 3 months. Okay, so the 4,950 is for 3 months. All right, yeah. So that is the amount needed for his emergency fund. And when does he need this? Well, is determined that he would like to save up this amount by June 2020, which is like 6 months from whenever. Now, the required monthly savings is the months required, the amount needed divided by the months will give you the actual amount you're supposed to be saving every month. So in this case, it's 4,950 divided by 6 months. It gives us the 825 kwacha for the emergency fund that he'll be saving every month for the next 6 months for him to achieve the 4,950 emergency fund that is estimated. If you look at the school fees for his child, it's 20,000. He needs it by June 2021, which at the time was about 17 months from the date that he required it. So 20 divided by 17 gives you the 1,176 kwacha. If you look at building the house, he would like to build the house by 31st December 2026. So that's when he wants to start building this house, by December 2026, and he needs about 150 to build this house. Don't ask me about how realistic these amounts are. They're just the assumptions, maybe where he stays, the materials are cheap, I don't know what else. It's just an estimate. So let's assume that he's able to actually start this building project in December 2026. At the time I counted, there was 71 months. So 150,000 divided by 71 months, when the money is required, gives you 2,113. So the total monthly savings required is 4,114. That is how much John needs to be saving every month in order for him to start achieving these goals. Now, at this point, I want to highlight the importance of goal setting. Because oftentimes people want to save without understanding their goals. Now, if you are this clear, you are clear about the goals, you are clear about how much your goals cost, and when you want to achieve goals towards achieving those goals, this is how easy it becomes. So use this savings plan to estimate how much you need to save. What is the required monthly saving? All right. So now that John has determined, his required monthly savings, we are now going to understand from his current income using the budget template. Does he actually have enough money remaining, or does he have a surplus